Good morning and welcome to the Business Report. I'm your host, Kirk Keller. I've got a great guest in the house that's going to give us a plethora of valuable information. Good morning, Juan.
Good morning, Kurt.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Yourself?
I cannot complain. It's a gorgeous day. Hey, so Juan, you are the owner and operator and president of Arc Point Labs.
Yes.
Tell us what that means.
Arc Point Labs of St. Augustine. Let's start with the ARC. It's ARC. That's accurate, reliable, confidential, to the point laboratory testing. For businesses and individuals, that's drug testing, DNA, screening services for businesses such as backgrounds, fingerprinting, and DNA testing for attorneys and individuals looking for DNA testing, and of course, clinical lab work.
So as a manager of a business such as myself, why is that important for me to know you and start using your services?
Oh, primarily as a business owner, you want to screen your employees, right? That's paramount. We make sure all of our testing is efficient, especially for business owners. That's our foundation. So, drug screenings, background checks. We do level 2 FBI background checks as well. So live scan, fingerprinting.
Well, that's great to know. I didn't know that. My wife just got offered a job, and she has to go through all these background checks. So it's interesting to know that. And I know in the past I've had to do that for some other jobs. At one time, I went to George Bush's inauguration. I had to go through the Secret Service background testing. So it's fascinating what they can find out about you just from a fingerprint and a social security number.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about the DNA testing and let's go drug testing.
Okay.
I am a big fan of drug testing for employees.
Right.
I get voted down all the time, but I am a huge fan of it. In fact, I had a phone call with my mother-in-law in Missouri. She works for Head Start, and she was telling me about I guess they call him a customer, not a patient, a customer that came in that wanted to enroll their 2 kids into Head Start. She says, Kirk, you could tell this young lady was on drugs when she walked in, but they're not allowed to drug test them. And I'm a huge fan of that because why am I? And I'm not trying to make this political, but
Right.
but I'm spending my tax dollars and your tax dollars to take care of these 2 children, which I'm glad to do. But she needs to be drug tested and counseled, I think.
Correct. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. When it comes to situations like that, a lot of times the businesses or entities, they're not sure of which direction to go as far as accessing that type of testing. That's what we're here for.
I know my old employer said he never wanted to do drug testing because he was afraid he'd lose half his employees.
I hear that a lot. I would recommend any employer like, let's say, labor work, painters, people that climb trees, etc. Just do a preliminary screening.
Death-defying work.
Correct. Get a preliminary screening because workers' compensation claims from the employees in are on the rise.
Oh, I didn't think about that because the workman's compensation is out of our pocket.
Correct.
So if they get hurt on the job and you didn't do a drug test,
Hey,
you're in real trouble. But if you did do a drug test and gave them precautionary or didn't hire them all, that's the safe haven.
yeah, because you're going to be, I would say it's a better bet to do that because, all right, let's say you do your pre-employment drug screen. They're negative. They get in an accident. You got to do, I would recommend post-accident reasonable suspicion testing. If they come up positive, you're covered.
So what's all included in the preliminary drug test for an employer?
You can customize it. Yeah, so I'll give you the most common one to be Department of Transportation. That's a 5-panel. It'll be opiates, amphetamines, THC, cocaine, and PCP. So with that, with the drivers, there you might be abuse of prescription drugs or something along those lines, and you want to get that. But one drawback with the Department of Transportation, they don't test more. They need to test more extensively.
Right.
Yeah, not just a 5-panel. I think 10 minimal.
No, I agree with you 100%. I know there's several other lab companies out there that do testing for DNA and drug testing and everything. But the reason I fell in love with your company and the reason I really like you and wanted you on the show today is we don't have to go to you. You actually will come to the business. So if my company signs up for drug testing, I don't send employees to you. You come to the restaurant or the office or
Manufacturing
or
plant,
manufacturing
whatever.
plant and do the drug testing there all in one day, or do you schedule individuals, or how do you do that?
We can do it any way that an employer would like. I'll give you an example. One of our longest standing partnerships is with the Flagler County School District, the bus drivers. So every quarter we come down, they do random testing for Department of Transportation. We set up a time, day, usually show about 8 o'clock, finish it. That's it.
See, that's something I did not know that Flagler County Schools drug tested their bus drivers. I think that's great, though.
Yeah, because they're part of DOT, Department of Transportation, so they have to. It's mandatory.
State
It
law,
has
right.
to be done. But it'll be random. They could miss somebody that may be on drugs, but they're getting it done. So I would really, everyone should drug test their employees.
So do you think that whenever you are a company and you tell people that we drug test all of our employees, does that scare off potential applicants? And if it does, is that good?
I think it's very good. And I've seen it a lot. Employers are sending their people in, and the employers or clients that are going to start working there, they're like, so what are they testing for?
Right.
Why are you asking me? Just take the test.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I think it does. In industries like we discussed, painting, lawn work, depth-defying jobs. A lot of people, they're going to be doing.
Well, I agree with the school bus and the CDL drivers. I mean,
Right.
This morning, I was late meeting you this morning because I was stuck behind 4 dump trucks.
Right.
I'm hoping those guys have taken a drug test and are qualified to drive that truck.
Correct. Yeah, construction companies as
Right.
well. Yeah, they're always big on that because accidents.
So let me ask you about the Flagler County school system and the bus driver. So does the person hiring the bus drivers, do they send you the name and application of the person and you reach out to them? Or do they send you the application and say these people are going to contact you?
Right. All right. So it's Dr. Walker.
Okay.
He runs their system down there. Basically, he'll contact me. We set up dates or a month or a week or something beforehand. And he contacts me. Hey, this is just a reminder. Here's the list. And then I just show up. They don't know I'm coming. They have a space for me.
Okay.
And I set up and they just send them all into this place. Oh, again. And a lot of them I see.
So they do random drug tests as well?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Absolutely.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, that's perfect. I mean, I think everyone should random drug test.
So hypothetically, what is the percentage of employees a person might lose at a business by doing drug testing?
You have a lot of remote workers now also. It depends on the industry, I would say. And the abuse of the drug and what is allowed or not allowed.
Right.
You can customize panels to take out THC if you don't have any problems with it.
That was my next question, is because THC is now legal
Right.
somewhat in the state of Florida. How do you get around that, or do you just not test for it at all?
No,
Or do you look at levels?
It's about the levels. There's a cutoff point. If it's over that, of course, it's adulterated. It's abused. But you're going to come up positive for THC anyways. That would be under the discretion of the employer. So if they want to not have any type of disciplinary action, that's up to them. But
Let's say the new motel that's opening up on Flagler Beach, they're still in construction. Let's say there's an accident today.
right.
Could that employer call you and say, I need you to come down here and drug test the staff member that was involved in this accident?
Absolutely, and that's a great example because another one of our clients is Hammock Beach Resort. So they'll contact us if one of their crew, let's say they're driving a golf cart and boom, boom, boom.
Right.
Hey, stay right here in this room. They'll contact us. We come down there and breathalyze and drug test the employee.
That was my other question I had for you today, is breathalyzer, alcohol testing.
Yes.
Because there are a lot of people that drink on the job, drink at the job, drink during the job. How often do you get called in about that? Is it only when there's an accident?
No, very reasonable suspicion. So we get that a lot. You'd be surprised, like dentist's office. They'll be like,
Dentist?
Hey, I'm like, hey, we have an employee here that we think may be on some type of drugs. And we'll show up. They don't know we're coming, breathalyze several times.
What are they doing? Going in there taking a hit of the Novocaine?
No, like it may be drugs.
Oh,
of some
wow.
kind. I bring that one up because that was the most recent one that we dealt with. But yeah, breathalyzer, hey, we got somebody, can you guys come on site and test them? Yeah, of course. We'll show up and, whatever, if it's, not many of them are alcohol, but because it only lasts several hours.
Right.
But the drugs, you'll see that one.
Well, let me ask you that because it doesn't stay in your system long. From the time I call you to the time of the testing, what's the lapse time there?
12 hours for alcohol.
Okay.
'Cause, yeah, but if
Takes you 12 hours to get there, or
No,
to
no.
get the test back?
No. I thought you were talking about breathalyzer.
Oh.
Yeah, breathalyzer instant. But let's say next day for lab-based. But we can do an instant test as well to get the drug testing done. Get that out of the way and get a result. if it's any type of argument from the employee or other party, we can take it to the lab for confirmation testing.
So let me ask about that because I don't think there's much testing on alcoholism, not that I know of. Let's say that my boss walked in here today and said, "Hey, Juan, I want you to test Kirk to see if he drank last night." Is that such a test exist?
Yes.
It does.
Yes, it's called the ETG test.
Okay.
Most common one we industry that we work with, that is probation. So they'll request a 10 panel plus the ETG. ETG is alcohol. So that would test back about 80 hours. So
Really?
Yeah, and we'll see if alcohol is in your system. Easy. Through urine. That's through urine.
Got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we can do it through blood as well. That's a PEth test.
I was going to ask you that. What's best, urine or blood?
Blood. Yeah.
So if I get stopped on the road one of these days for the possible of drinking and driving, and I've told you a while ago, I've got a bad knee, should I ask the officer for a blood test versus the walking test or the straight line test?
If you're okay, you mean?
Yeah.
I would say, give me a breathalyzer.
Breathalyzer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially if you haven't been drinking.
All right. Fantastic.
And also hair follicle testing. We do provide that as well. And we can test for alcohol in that.
Yeah, so the hair follicle testing can go back up to 30 days. Is that right?
No, 90 days.
Oh, 90 days.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy,
it really
crazy,
is.
crazy.
And nail testing can go back 6 to 9 months.
Well, I'm convinced. You had me convinced weeks ago that I think employers need to do this.
Yeah.
I think it would put up a red flag for that employee that you might be hiring. Plus, I would also think it would be a deterrent for employees to even want to try it, test it, experiment with it after they've got the job. So I think that helps society is how I look at it.
Yeah, deterrent.
Yeah, 100%. So how do I get in touch with you if I want to have you come by and at least tell me the program and do some testing possibly?
Okay, you can contact us via phone, 904-217-0479, or go online, www.arcpointlabs.com. That's ARCPOINTLABS.com/ST-Augustine.
All right, give me the phone number one more time.
904-217-0479.
All right, one, we're going to take a fast commercial break. When we come back, we're going to ask more about DNA.
All right.
All right, ready whenever you are, Mark. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good morning and welcome back to the Business Report. I'm your host, Kirk Keller. My guest this morning is Juan from Arc Point Labs in St. Augustine. I say St. Augustine, but I know your goal is to have an office here in Palm Coast soon.
I am, yes.
Have you found anything yet?
Nothing that I need a little bit more of a distance from where we're at in St. Augustine South, and then be a little bit.
So you
easier.
want the south side of Palm Coast or Flagler County?
Probably, yeah.
All righty. Tell us a little bit about your needs, just in case somebody's listening.
Needs, basically, I can team up with anybody, and I just need a space.
Okay. 1,200 feet, 1,000 feet?
Yeah, about 1,200 square feet, bathroom, just a space I can bring like a phlebotomy chair or tables, storage, and we can set up anywhere and start doing drug testing, DNA, clinical lab work, anything.
So if I have a space for you, who do I call?
You call me.
What's that phone number again?
I'll give you got my cell, but 904-217-0479.
All right, fantastic. Let's help Juan get a location here in Flagler County because I think it's a great service and the service is fantastic. But what I like the best is Juan will actually come to your business or your home or your restaurant and do testing for you right then and there. So you have to take time off from work, which is one of my biggest problems. I don't ever have time, do I?
Right. Yeah, we focus more on concierge service.
Fantastic. So you do DNA testing. Let's
Yes.
talk about that a little bit because DNA testing has been through the roof lately. You hear it on our radio stations. You hear it on TV commercials. You're blasted with email blasts. You see it on Facebook and everything else. Why would a person want DNA testing?
Depending on the type you like, ancestral, that would be like, where am I from? Kinship, that's the paternity testing. Lifestyle, what can I eat or not eat that's going to keep me healthy?
Okay. I'm an adopted child. I don't know if I ever told you that. I do not know who my bio parents are and never have asked, never have cared. It drives my wife and my daughter nuts that I don't ever ask. Primarily for my wife and her nursing background. She wants to know what my health problems might be. So she bought me that 23andMe like 6 years ago. Never found out who my mom was or any siblings or anything. Knew nothing. But, I know a little bit about my heritage. background,
Right.
but didn't find. Do those tests really work? Is what I'm getting at, or should I just go through you just to find out more about me and not really worry? Because you do the ancestry part as well.
Yes. So we'll start with the ancestry part. Yes, it does work. Now you want the 23andMe. We don't work with 23andMe. So we work with DDC, DNA Diagnostic Center, and Alliance DNA. DDC is the largest DNA provider or testing provider here in the nation, globally, actually. We've done several ancestry tests, and they're pretty accurate. You'll find some answers. It's more of a global map. It's a interactive map, and it'll show you all the parts and more information on not just the locations, but yourself as well.
That's fascinating.
And
Do you do a lot of ancestry testing?
it's, a lot of people, I think they're like apprehensive like you. Should I do it, should I not? But it's more of the paternity if they know, and the lifestyle DNA testing, like mitochondrial DNA, like what type of foods to eat and not to eat.
You mentioned paternity. Let's talk about that a little bit. Paternity testing seems to be huge these days as well, because you're accused of being a father, you're accused of this and that. How often do you do that?
That's a lot. We do it all the time. And I would.
Is it court ordered, or is it people actually volunteering to come in there and say, hey, this girl's accusing me of blah, blah, blah?
Both. A lot of times you'll see fathers come in there, hey, I need to prove my paternity. Like, what do you mean? In the state of Florida, you're really not, but you need to prove your paternity.
Right.
And they'll just do on their own due diligence, get that paternity test.
So it's not always the case that the dad's trying to get out of paying child support. He wants to claim that child.
Correct. Yeah, and I would, any dad out there that has any type of issue, prove your paternity. And then we do have the legal DNA testing as well. So that both of them are very common. In the event, let's say the father's not in play, he may be incarcerated or deceased, we can still test the child through the grandparent, because the mother really doesn't matter. We need to get the grandparents, or if we have like hair or blood from that father, we can do a paternity test as well.
Let's say a young lady doesn't have a child and she's not sure who the father is. Could you do the blood test on the child and do the ancestry background to kind of see who that child might be related to find the father? Or is that stretching it?
That's stretching it right there. Yeah.
I watch way too many movies.
Yeah. Yeah, that's stretching it. It would have to be a direct paternity. Like, okay, it might be father one, two, whoever, and test it that way. That one, I've seen it a lot. It's sad. It's sad because you don't want to see a child grow up like that with no father, and the mother's made some mistakes. But yeah, we help them out.
Fantastic. You also do blood testing or blood work. I think it goes both ways, which I'm looking very forward to. I can't remember what the date we have it scheduled, but you and I and Daniel Anderson, the host of Lifeline, we're going to have our blood work drawn right here on this show. You're going to take it, and then a week or so, we're going to come back on and talk about what's wrong with us.
Correct.
I'm a big fan of doing my blood work. I usually get my blood work done every year. I usually get it done in October. This last October, I was so slammed. I haven't had a chance to go at all. So I'm looking forward to this because I was taught years ago by a doctor, and this is really great for people. If you don't have medical insurance, listen to this part. I was taught a long time ago by a doctor, your blood work can tell you just about everything about you, what's wrong with you, what's good with you. So get your blood work. If you can't afford to go to the doctor on a regular basis, please spend that $190 or whatever the cost is, and get your blood work done and read it and find out what's wrong with you. So tell my listeners, what all can I know about me after a blood work chart is done?
Okay. Depending on the panel, but primarily your blood counts. What's going on with your liver, kidneys.
So blood count, white blood count is high. That might be a sign of cancer. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. White blood cells, red blood cells, your hepatic function, renal function, prostate, hormones. Men nowadays and women should take a look at their hormones because you might be off balance. We could find out pretty much.
And your hormones kind of help with your weight regulation. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So that's why that's important. Okay.
Yeah. Cortisol, insulin. So you want to take a look at those. Could be anything.
Okay.
Vitamin D also. We're all insufficient in vitamin D, so that'd be something to take a look at. Also.
Vitamin D, that's the sun.
Yeah, but we're not.
How come we be vitamin D insufficient in Florida?
Yeah, we shouldn't be, but
right.
so we have to supplement that.
Wow, that's crazy. What else can you find out about me?
Okay, so when I just mentioned supplement, we have a very comprehensive micronutrient panel. This panel tests for 55 different vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and other essential nutrients. With that report, we'll see what's borderline, insufficient, and where you're good at. So we work with compounding labs. Well, one in specific that will provide supplements based on those results. So it's very accurate, and you could rebuild your body.
Let's talk about dementia and Alzheimer's. Is that something a blood work can find?
Yes,
Or at least detect?
correct.
Is on its way?
Yeah, there's markers that these tests are looking for, and they could determine if you know down that line of Alzheimer's or dementia.
So if I come to Arc Point to get my blood work done to find out what is right and what is wrong with me,
Right.
is that something you read back, or do I actually have to take that to a doctor or a nurse practitioner to have read to me?
I can interpret it, but I would recommend going to like your own nurse practitioner, or we do work with several locally that we could recommend to you.
All right, fantastic. What else can I find out about myself from my blood?
You can find out pretty much anything. What is most common nowadays is what to and what not to eat. So,
Okay.
Basing your lab
So your
work.
cholesterol, it checks your cholesterol.
Correct.
What's your cholesterol? If you have high cholesterol, that's what clogs your arteries. Am I saying that right?
Correct.
Okay. So that's very important to know. So that will tell me to go from red meat to fish and chicken, right?
Correct.
All right.
Yeah. Your lipid panel. You want to take a look at that because if you have, like you said, high cholesterol, you want to lower that.
High blood pressure. Is that just the suction cup, or can you tell I have high blood pressure from my actual blood?
Pretty much, I would stick with the cuff.
Okay.
You know.
So does the blood tell you why I have high blood pressure? Can you?
It will determine that. You know,
Okay.
like maybe you have hypertension, or like we said, your blood counts are higher. or lower.
Glucose.
Correct.
It tests for glucose. Well, I think glucose. Correct me if I'm wrong. No, sodium is what.
Sodium, potassium, that's electrolytes.
That's the if you have a lot of sodium in your blood, that's what causes a lot of high blood pressure. Is that right?
Right.
Okay, so you can detect all that. So you're really a preventative medical facility.
Correct. Yeah, and we actually have a local medical director as well. He's a semi-retired OBGYN, so we do have someone available that if you need that extensive help, he's there to help as well.
Fantastic. How often should I get my blood work done?
Me, I do it myself 3 times a year.
3 times. Okay.
Because basically what they are snapshots. You want to
Okay.
see what's going on with you, or if you feel, hey, what's going on with me? You feel any type of ailments?
So can I come in and tell you my different ailments, and you can say, okay, we don't need this test, this test,
Yes.
but you do need this, this, and this.
Yes, we can
Okay,
consult
so I
you
don't
as well.
have to have the full panel. Is that what you just called it?
Exactly.
All right. So let's start with the full panel. What's a full panel run?
Oof.
Price-wise.
Full panel. That's what. Okay, so we have an ultimate panel. That one's going to be $4.99.
Okay.
Then we have a comprehensive. That's going to be $2.99. Then we have what I call the snapshot, an annual checkup panel. That's $129.
Okay, that's not bad at all.
Nope.
To find out what's really going on with your system.
Right. And the turnaround time, 2 to 3 business days.
So why don't more doctors do blood tests rather than all these other tests they do? 'Cause-
To get paid. Yeah, because they're covered by insurance, you know.
Right.
And it's kind of I think it's a headache for doctors because they're not focused on places to send their patients. Hey, just go get your blood work done.
Right.
And you're like looking around, the patients are looking around, where do I go? Everyone knows Quest, LabCorp. Those are vendors. Like, those are vendors of ours. But you come to us, we'll get you taken care of. It's a personalized
That
field.
is very true, because the doctor that told me to get my blood, I've been taking my blood test for years. I moved here 9 years ago this month, actually, and I had to find somebody to do it. I had to ask a lot of questions, and nobody knew what I was talking about.
Right.
Because the nurse practitioners and the doctor's offices, they send them off. Well, I found a place here in Palm Coast, and that's where I've been going for the last 8 years. But now I found you, and you'll come to
Absolutely.
me. I don't have to leave.
will.
I don't have to leave work.
That's right.
I can be doing my show right now and getting blood taken. I love that. I think that's absolutely great. Concierge service.
Yes.
All right. Once again, we're sold. I'm sold. Definitely sold on everything you do. Can't wait for you to get some clients here in Palm Coast so you can move to Palm Coast.
Absolutely.
How do I get in touch with you again?
Phone 904-217-0479. Online www.arcpointlabs.com/ST-RX. Augustine.
Fantastic. And don't forget, he's looking for a location here in Flagler County. He needs 1,000 to 1,200 square feet. And he'd like to be on the south side of Flagler County.
Right.
Did I say all that right?
Yeah.
All right. Juan, give us the phone number again.
904-217-0479.
Sir, thank you for being on the Business Report this morning. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank
We'll see you guys next Saturday.